Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla's new Model Y in Europe, the Cybertruck becoming a bestseller, new details coming out about Tesla's We Robot event, and more, so let's get into it, and a special thanks to Novium for sponsoring a portion of this video. First up today, though the trend is slowly starting to change in recent years, pickup trucks are still extremely popular in the United States. For many years, Ford held the #1 position as best-selling vehicle in the US with the F-150, ahead of many common names such as the RAV4 or Toyota Camry. Recently, however, new data from Cox Automotive is showing that the Cybertruck is now climbing the ranks in the US bestseller list, at least for EVs, and it's demonstrating a number of things. In the third quarter of 2024, it was the third best-selling electric vehicle in the United States. Of course, the two that beat it out were also Tesla's, with the Model Y in first and Model 3 in second, beating it by a lot. Still, the Cybertruck is now beating every other non-Tesla EV sold in the United States, which really shows just how behind these cars are when it comes to scale. Overall, Tesla remains the dominant EV manufacturer in the US, selling 471,374 vehicles in the United States year to date. That accounts for half of the country's entire electric vehicle sector. What we didn't necessarily expect, however, was for the Cybertruck to be catching up to other Tesla vehicles, at least in rankings. Kelley Blue Book reports they have sold 16,692 units in Q3 2024 and 28,250 year to date. It's not only beating out both the Model S and X, but all other EVs by other automakers in the US. When looking at its direct competition, Tesla sold more than 2.3 times more Cybertruck units than the Ford F-150 Lightning at 7,162 units. After that is the Rivian R1T at 3,817 units, and Chevy Silverado EV at 1,995 units. That means that in Q3, the Cybertruck sold more units than its next three competitors combined. I never expected this truck to flop, but I'm pleasantly surprised by just how popular it has become. After almost a year of deliberation, I finally decided to buy a Cybertruck, and so far I can see why this car is so popular. To anyone who doubts it, I just say to drive it for about 30 minutes or so and see how you still feel about it. Maybe you'll still dislike its exterior look or need more range for things like towing, but the engineering underneath is undeniable. The market is seeing the result of that. Even though the Cybertruck has been starting at $100,000 up until this point, it is selling incredibly well and beating out top Model Y competitors, while the Model Y remains in first place by a landslide. Now we're seeing the Cybertruck become available at $80,000 for the all-wheel drive model, and it does seem that Tesla has moved fairly quickly through the order queue. For instance, I received an invite for a non-Foundation Series Cybertruck, and I ordered a few months after the truck was announced. So we'll see what the future holds here, how things grow, what impact the EV tax credit will have on this truck, and then when Tesla delivers the first rear-wheel drive Cybertruck. There's still a lot to see in the future, and we'll see whether or not the Cybertruck can continue growing its sales, but for now, things are looking far better than many expected. Speaking of the Cybertruck, one of the best features that this truck brings is bidirectional charging. This allows you to take the energy from the battery pack and charge an EV or power your home. This feature launched with this truck, but many have found delays here, so Tesla gave a new update saying, quote, "Enabling power share for your Cybertruck may take up to a week. If you have solar in your home backup circuit, power share will be enabled by end of year. If you have been installed with backup switch in an approved utility, power share will be enabled by end of year. For Powerwall owners, power share will be enabled in 2025. This is one of those delays that can come with a new Tesla product via software, so it will be very exciting to see this fully delivered. Right now, I'm in the process of getting a quote for a PowerShare install at my house, so I'll keep you posted on how that goes. Next up today, Tesla only manufactures 4 consumer vehicles, and the trims of those vehicles remain fairly consistent. Recently, however, they have started offering a couple different trims, like the rear-wheel drive Model 3 and Model Y, which in both cases delivers the highest range version of that vehicle at the lowest price. Last week, Tesla made an announcement on X about a new long-range rear-wheel drive Model 3, but this time it was over in Europe. Quote, "Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive has over 700 kilometers of range, and it's the most efficient EV available in Europe today, getting you even further for your money." Ultimately, this is the same rear-wheel drive long-range Model 3 that Tesla has now been selling in the United States. It has replaced the standard range version of that car here, and is really great because it delivers a long range with great efficiency at a great price. For that range, 700 kilometers converts to about 435 miles. That sounds incredible, but we have to keep in mind that this is a WLTP range estimate. Generally speaking, the WLTP testing cycle results in ranges that are much higher than EPA. Using standard WLTP to EPA conversion, that 435 miles translates to about 348 miles. Then if we look at the equivalent long-range rear-wheel drive Model 3 available in the US, it's listed at 363 miles, so this really is the same car. As for the Model Y though, there have been various rumors about what we're expecting there. Some expected Tesla to unveil the new Juniper Model Y, or a cheaper 5-seater, smaller Model Y at the Robotaxi event, but neither of those things happened. That means we've still been waiting on developments of rumors like the simultaneous rumors of a new smaller Model Y and a 7-seater Model Y coming from China. Now it appears we've seen the first of these new vehicles, and it's simply the introduction of a trim they already make in other markets. Tesla posted about a new Model Y, saying, "Model Y now available with 7 seats, long-range all-wheel drive trim." This has been an option in the United States for a while now, and is currently a $2,000 upgrade. In the Netherlands, it's now available as a €2,500 upgrade, or about $2,700. The delivery estimates for that trim are as soon as this month when ordering today. As with the 7-seater in the US, quote, simply press the button and the second row of seats slides forward and folds down to make it easy to get in and out. This is a great option for larger families, and it's good to see Tesla offering features available in the US to other areas, although it is important to see this car in person if you expect to use those seats all the time. They are quite small in that third row, and typically are only suited for children. Ultimately, customers still want to see a larger 7-seater from Tesla, but that remains to be seen. For now, the Model Y with 3 rows is being introduced in new markets, and this should help Tesla further expand sales of the Model Y, which they have scaled up very well. The Model Y continues selling well, but there are always ways to reach more customers. Introduce cheaper, longer-range rear-wheel drive options, add more seating, and then soon enough, completely refresh this car, similar to the new Model 3. At this point, we're expecting that refresh to be announced sometime in 2025, probably early on, but time will tell. Next up today, Tesla revealed a lot at their We Robot event on October 10th, but also left a lot of details out that have since come to light. There were many questions about how autonomously everything was operating, along with some things Tesla has since unveiled. First, with cars driving themselves comes the question of how they will charge, and this is something Tesla has already addressed. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Novium. Novium makes a line of futuristic and elegant pens that defy gravity without any plugs or electricity. This refillable pen floats perfectly in its stand and makes a great decorative statement on any desk. I love the way it stays completely balanced while spinning in place. On top of looking cool though, they write extremely well and make a great gift for any tech or science enthusiast. The Hover Pen Interstellar won Time Magazine's award for one of the best innovations of the year in 2022. It floats in its stand at a 23.5-degree angle, which is the same angle that the Earth rotates on its axis. This pen comes in a bunch of space-themed colors like Starlight Silver, Mars Magma, Neptune Blue, and Space Black. Then the premium version is 18-karat gold-plated and even includes a real meteorite shard embedded inside. On top of that, Novium also offers the Hover Pen Future, which looks like a rocket. That pen comes in a 2-in-1 design, which allows you to swap between a fountain pen and a roller tip ball. To check out these amazing pens for yourself or a friend, click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. Then use my code RyanShaw to get 10% off on all Hover pens and free shipping to most countries. All the way back in 2015, they released a video of a robot arm charging a Model S. Back then, this was more plausible than an inductive charging pad, but inductive charging technology has come a long way in the last 9 years. At Tesla's Investor Day last year, they teased a photo of an inductive charging pad. They didn't talk about it, but showed a photo of a Model S parked over it, implying they might have plans to bring it to production. We didn't see this again until the We Robot event, though. During the presentation, they played renders demonstrating how the inductive charging technology works. Quote, "Something we're also doing, and it's really high time we did this, is inductive charging. The Robotaxi has no plug. It just goes over the inductive charger and charges." They actually didn't include these graphics in the live stream, but for those who were at the event itself, they saw this demonstration on screen. We can see what Tesla is working with, the size of the charging pad, and confirmation of how they expect this to work. Presumably, this tech already works, considering he said the Robotaxi doesn't even have a charge port, and they were obviously functional prototypes, but they could have another way to charge it in the meantime. It does seem like Tesla would have wanted to demonstrate this at the event if it was working, but then again, the focus was really on the autonomy itself, and less so the actual specs of this car. The existence of this tech has implications for the future. It could really revolutionize vehicle charging. There's already a massive supercharger infrastructure built throughout the world with over 50,000 global superchargers, but inductive charging could become the new norm at home or at superchargers. Beyond that, new charging stations could be built with these pads, making charging on the go even easier. Just pull into a spot and walk away. Or your robotaxi will calculate the need to charge, drive itself to a supercharger outfitted with these charging pads, park, charge up, and head back out for more rides. That's the future vision at least, but for now, we could see this come to existing cars like the Cybertruck. Tesla seems to have future-proofed this truck to be capable of inductive charging via a retrofit in the future, so it's exciting to see more developments here. As for the batteries within that robotaxi that are being charged, reports have since come through saying that Tesla is aiming for the robotaxi to be the most efficient EV on the road, with an efficiency of 5.5 miles per kilowatt and achieving a 200-mile range. That range optimizes for its use and allows them to keep costs down and efficiency up. Reportedly, though, it will be using 4680 batteries, as Tesla unveiled in this tweet. This short video shows the similarities between the robotaxi and Optimus, saying, quote, same batteries, cameras, computers, and the animation clearly shows their large 4680 batteries. It does make sense that future cars will use their latest battery tech, but this wasn't confirmed until now. As for the robotaxis at the event, Tesla's head of AI reflected on the event, saying they had 19 Cybercabs and 29 Model Ys driving themselves, 1,300 trips transporting over 2,000 guests, continuous operation of over 3.5 hours, and every trip was perfectly safe. That is one detail that people seem to miss. While geofenced, yes, these cars were all driving on their own, thinking for themselves, pulling off to different areas depending on what was open, and they did so without a hitch. He further added, it was really amazing to see users take the robotaxis for granted. They didn't seem to think twice before crossing in front of it, walking alongside it, robotaxis interacting with one another, etc. They behaved just the same way they would around human-driven vehicles. The best part was that almost all of the autonomy demonstrated was using close to the production AI software, or will ship soon in V13. This is our first confirmation of which software version was being used, and it's exciting to hear that soon customers will have this in their cars. At Tesla's event, Elon Musk talked about them delivering unsupervised FSD to the Model 3 and Y in Texas and California within 2025, but many are skeptical of this or the idea that they can deliver unsupervised FSD on Hardware 3 vehicles. Tesla now ships cars with their updated Hardware 4 cameras and computers, but when speaking to executives, Kim Jowua got confirmation that Tesla plans to ship this on Hardware 3 cars. That means they still absolutely plan to be able to turn current Model 3s and Ys into robotaxis. Of course, that remains to be seen in practice, but this confirmation is good to hear. If anything, my hope is that if Tesla finds something like a front bumper camera to be required for unsupervised FSD, they can retrofit it for customers, but we'll have to see. There are obviously many hurdles they still have to get over in order to deliver this product. As for Optimus, while they were walking around the lot, it was pretty clear to many that these were human-controlled to a degree. Milan Kovac, working on the Tesla bot, clarified this a bit, saying, we had about 20 active bots at all times, walking through a packed crowd, dancing, taking selfies, or even pouring drinks and handing out snacks. While of course they were human-assisted to some extent to help showcase our vision of an amazing future, they walked, balanced, and danced on their own for around 4 hours straight, with only one single fall. Someone's handbag caught a bot's hand. That is all very impressive, and that seems to have been Tesla's overall goal with this event, showcasing a ton of what the future can look like, and that it may be sooner than you think. It's exciting for sure, but of course there's a lot that needs to be delivered here. Next up today, new tests on the Tesla Semi conducted by the logistics company DHL have confirmed some details on that truck's performance. DHL was recently doing a trial on the Tesla Semi, and the results did not disappoint. Back in 2017, the company had ordered 10 Tesla Semis, claiming at the time that the trucks could save them tens of thousands of dollars a year. That was right after the truck was unveiled, and well before any deliveries were sent out, so that was somewhat of a speculative claim at the time. Now, after 7 years and many delays, there is hard evidence to support DHL's claim, and that it was definitely worth the wait. During their trial this summer with their US supply chain partners, they found the truck to be more than capable. They, quote, integrated the e-truck into 3,000 miles of normal operations out of Livermore, California. That trip included a long haul of 390 miles, fully loaded with a gross combined weight of 75,000 pounds, confirming the Tesla Semi's ability to carry typical DHL payloads over a long distance on a single charge. On top of that, they confirmed the Semi is capable of 500 miles on a single charge with a full load. What's even more impressive, though, is how efficiently it can do it, at an average rate of 1.72 kilowatt hours per mile during the 2 weeks. That efficiency was achieved at speeds in excess of 50 miles per hour on average for over half its time on the road. Quote, the results exceeded our expectations and even Tesla's own rating. These estimates are being updated all the time, and Tesla has since updated their own to claim it can do 1.6 kilowatt hours per mile. That's where the real cost savings come from. 1.7 kilowatt hours of electricity can cost as low as 15 cents, so let's look at what that's competing with. A semi that runs on diesel gets about 8 miles per gallon at best, and a gallon of diesel in California runs about $4.90 at the time of this video. That's about 61 cents per mile, making the Tesla Semi more than 4 times as efficient in these cases. As such, DHL is ready to roll with the Tesla Semi following these tests, and they are currently working on integrating them into their US division. Moving forward, this could create an instant lead for the Tesla Semi in Europe, since DHL has operations there. Tesla has mentioned expanding to Europe and worldwide, but in the meantime, this is great news for the truck's domestic success. With its new factory construction in Nevada, we're expecting the Tesla Semi to reach volume production next year, and with numbers like these, it should continue to do quite well in the United States and globally. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. Earlier this year, almost every EV manufacturer in the US announced, one by one, that they would be gaining access to Tesla's supercharger network and then incorporating NACS directly into their vehicles. Among them is BMW, who recently had to push back the deadline for when that transition would happen. They had initially announced that BMW vehicles would gain access to NACS and an adapter would be provided in early 2025. Now, according to a bulletin that BMW sent to its US dealer network at the beginning of the month, quote, access to Tesla superchargers and BMW certified adapters will become available later in 2025. They go on to say that until then, it is recommended to exclusively use charging stations equipped with CCS1 or J1772 connectors. This doesn't specifically mention a delay, but the terminology seems to suggest it. When asked for clarification, one BMW representative simply confirmed that they were working on the integration, including vehicle apps and an adapter from their supplier. If you're considering buying an EV from BMW, it may be in your best interest to wait just a little bit longer to gain full access to the largest fast charging network in the country, at least if you're planning to road trip. If you know you have reliable charging where you're at, this may not change much for you, but in the future, you will gain supercharger access. Over at Jeep, they have teased their new Compass electric SUV. This is Jeep's most globally available model, so it's exciting to see it going electric. This year, it was their 3rd best-selling vehicle in the US, and it's also a top seller in Europe. We first heard about this new EV back in August, when Jeep's UK managing director said it would be revealed in November. Just recently, they announced it will be available in fully electric, hybrid, and gas-powered options as part of their freedom of choice strategy. It'll be built on the same platform as the Peugeot E3008, which they claim will deliver between 310 to 435 miles of WLTP range, depending on the trim. It'll be manufactured in Italy starting next year, and they plan for production to expand to North America and around the world in 2026. So far, they have only released this teaser image, but we should be seeing more of this vehicle next month. At the same time, Jeep is also getting ready to release the Recon EV, inspired by the Wrangler, and an electric Renegade starting under $25,000. With any EV being announced at that price point, it's very exciting, but it will be more exciting when we see it delivered and delivered at scale. Over at Nissan, they just announced that their EVs will be gaining access to over 18,000 Tesla superchargers this quarter. They said, quote, starting later this year, Nissan will make available to Aria drivers a North American charging standard adapter. This adapter will allow Aria drivers to conveniently charge at compatible Tesla supercharger locations, dramatically increasing the number of public charging locations available to Aria. In 2025, Nissan will begin offering EVs for the US and Canadian markets with an NACS port. Whenever an automaker announces this integration, it's fantastic news because it means EVs are fully functional. You won't be worried about third-party charging on road trips, and Tesla's charger reliability is fully available to you. Already, this functionality is available for Rivian, Ford, and GM EV owners, so the majority of other EVs in the US are covered at this point. There definitely are more to come, and it's very exciting. For Tesla owners, though, the question will be how this works out for congestion, and we'll have to wait and see how that all shapes up as things expand and these companies sell more EVs. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the latest tips and tricks for the Tesla Model 3 and Y, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.